I started my first forever world as a builder, and in this video I set myself the task of transforming an entire plains village using only plains biome blocks. Okay, so I just kind of want to make a wall of wood first. Okay, and with that last log, it really looks like we are done with this wall. So now that we had a plan in place, there was only a couple more things that we had to get done. And I think we're all kind of aware what one of those things is. Now that all the evictions were taken care of, there was only two more things we have to do, and that was get some wood and some stone. Yeah, that should be enough wood for now. If that's not enough stone blocks, I might just kill. Now with a plan in place and all of our materials, I wanted to create a layout of the village before I even started building. Creating this layout actually made everything so much easier because it meant I could terraform now and not have to do as much work later on. Okay, let's just get to building. I genuinely spent so long not building because I wasn't sure which building to go for first. But I ended up deciding to go for the church because I really thought it was going to be the hardest, and it genuinely took me so long to do in the end. I spent the first little while trying to texture while I was building, but then as you can kind of see, I eventually just decided on going for cobblestone throughout and texturing later. I also started making this small roof, which just looked absolutely horrific, not only close up, but even worse from afar. So as you can see, I deleted it and just made a much simpler roof. And as we come to the end, the church is really coming together. I really wanted to capture a feeling that it was towering over the whole village, while also still feeling like kind of just a mesh of random cheap stone blocks. And here at the end, I was just kind of adding little details just to tie the build together and make it feel a little bit more complete. But as you can see, the church is now complete. So there is the first build of the village done. Considering this is the one I was most scared about, I don't think that it turned out half bad. It's obviously not the best church that's ever been built, but it fit the criteria that I set out in the beginning. And I think this sets a pretty good tone for the rest of the transformation. So without wasting any more time, let's just continue. Moving over to the masonry, I was really excited to do this build. I wanted to make an attempt at differentiating the blocks from the church and primarily using wood. I wanted it to feel as if these older buildings were built from whatever was available on the surface and as if they were slowly withering away over time. Here I started with a roof, and just like with the church, I don't end up going with this design. I tried to do like a double roof, but the build just wasn't big enough for this kind of roof, and so I stuck with a more generic shape later on. I also used some stone for the base just to make it feel as if the house had some structure, which is a common theme that I end up using in a lot of the older style builds. I also put a dedicated masonry station outside as I felt it just made the build feel less constrained to the shape I already set out. You can also see me here fixing the roof, and I decided to use some slabs and stairs to make it feel as if the roof was slightly caving in. Okay, so that is the masonry complete. I think I did a pretty good job at revamping the basic villager house while still fitting in with everything else that I'll build. But now all that we have left to do is the barn, this little dining area that I've set out here, the big farm over in the corner, the windmill, the two newer style houses, and the fish hut. So yeah, not much more to go, but let's just get to the fish hut. Before we continue, if you are enjoying this video, please don't forget to subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. Starting the fish hut, I used a very basic cubic shape. I then decided to add a very simple dock on the back of the house, as I said I was previously going to do. I then had this funny idea to make more use of diorite in this build, but weirdly enough I genuinely think it adds to the vibe. I wanted to create a domed roof for this build while using trapdoors as decoration, because for some reason they just kind of look like fishnets to me, so I just felt like it was appropriate. And so here we have our simple fish hut. I genuinely love how this build looks from the outside. It feels so enclosed and as if just like a little hermit would just live in here. After completing the fish hut, I genuinely didn't waste a breath and just started the windmill. I'm not sure what it is about windmills, but I just love building them. I think it's to do with the cone shape, it's just so satisfying to build. This is another build that I also use stripped logs as the main block. I promise I do not have a problem. I did then add some birch planks just to make use of the other plains biome wood. After I got to this point in the build though, I realised I had no wool to make the fan, so I needed to go on 2 side quests. Okay. Oh, there's one. Oh, okay, well there's like a group here, so I'll just... Yep, come on. Sheep, come on. Okay. Yep. Okay, I think I lost a few, but I still have most of them. Promise this home is only temporary, please get in. Okay, all of them should be in there now. Oh my god, you did this yourself. I also started a quick layout for the farm while I waited for the sheep to give me their clothing. I had a feeling it would take a while to get enough seeds, so better to start earlier than later. And I think that should be the last block if I'm not mistaken. Yep. Okay, honestly, that looks sick from down here. I was really happy with the momentum we had going, so I just moved on to the barn because, as you can see, I had a few animals waiting to be homed. And I promise I don't mean the villagers. I first started with the overhang for the outside area and then moved on to creating the base with white stained clay. I farmed it from the villagers' houses and thought I might as well use it, and I thought that it fit the vibe of the barn. Moving on to the roof, it may genuinely be one of my favourite parts of this whole transformation build. I went for the iconic rounded barn roof, but I added the same sinking effect as I did with the masonry roof, and I absolutely love what it did for this build. Finally, I added some simple indoor supports and a small wood floor. Okay, genuinely, this is such a simple build, but it just feels like it has so much character. Like, over here are the sheep, and ignore the Arronte villagers, I genuinely don't know why they're still here. But anyways, the village really is starting to feel like it's coming together, and I'm so happy with our progress. Now we go to something a little bit different from what we've been doing. For these newer builds, I wanted them to feel and look stronger, so I primarily use stone blocks. For extra supports, I just use slabs and stairs, again just to make these feel stronger than the others do. For the roof, I wanted to make it slope up gradually as it gets taller. This gives a more grand feel to the finished product. Okay, so I want to give these two a bit more of an interior. I've used birch for all the others, so I will just do it again. So I'm literally just gonna fill these two roofs in with birch slabs then, I guess. I also did this interior while I was at it. I then realized that there was no windows, and so I adjusted the fronts to look like this. They kind of look like wise old men now. After running around for a bit, it kind of felt like this path was out of place, and so I wanted to put something else here, and I decided to replace it with a bridge. And while I was at it, I wanted to fix the land on the other side to make it feel a bit more even. It really is quite a simple change, but it just feels like it made such a big difference to this portion of the village. So now we have all of the main buildings completely transformed. Honestly, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Of course it isn't perfect, and if I was to redo this now, I would definitely shift things around. However, I don't regret what I've done so far. We are now into the final stretch, and the next thing I wanted to tackle was creating a new path. Naturally, the first task was to destroy the path. This was genuinely really therapeutic in a weird way. It was so nice to be able to finally turn my brain off for the first time in this entire process. I decided to get rid of this little path because it didn't really lead anywhere and kind of just felt pointless to leave here. So now we just need to get some appropriate path blocks, and so I went caving without armor. I obviously have not been down here in a while. Oh, hi zombie. Oh, just casually with an enchanted bow. Hi, skeleton. Okay, I was not expecting to come across this many zombies. Please don't kill me, please. For some reason, these zombies genuinely just have so much health. Like, I don't know if they're ever going to die, or am I just going to have to let them kill me? Like, I don't even know. Okay, finally, that took way too long. And now we pretend as if nothing ever happened. That should be enough granite. Okay, I think I have everything. Okay, and that's like 11 stacks or something. So, let's just get started on this damn path. So I wanted to create a dirt path because I just kind of felt like it fit with the vibe of the older rundown style that we've built in the houses so far. I also incorporated some granite and smooth granite for some texture. And I added slabs and stairs around the area to make it easier to just run around whenever I wanted to. And for the final touches, I sprinkled in some cobblestone. I added some wood slabs, some wood logs, and then I went around adding some fences to the path where there was a lot of empty green spaces, and I kind of thought it was nice to make it feel as if there was some guide to the path. And with that, we have our path. So now we move into the lightning round. With every other build in the village complete, there's only one more thing for us to do. Okay, so for some of you this may feel a little bit anticlimactic, but I think a great oak tree perfectly encapsulates the essence of a plains biome, and so it only felt right for this to be the centerpiece of the entire village. The legend in the village is that the tree is what allows the villagers to thrive through generations. When the first villagers arrived on this land, they found nothing but the great oak. They were starving and on the verge of death. After finding the tree, they miraculously found water, food, and the energy to build themselves shelter. They believed that the great oak granted them this survival, and swore to keep it safe ever since. I wanted the tree to feel like the final piece of the puzzle, and if I didn't make the shape feel organic, or if it was too small or too big, the whole transformation would fall apart in minutes. In the end, the tree feels grand, as if it holds the magic from a time before. And after a few final touches, the village was finally complete.